Hi, I'm Ryan Herbst, Chief Strategist with UnifiedCommunications.com, and I'd like to welcome you to this webinar, the Hub2S Experience.
And I'm Lynn Morgan with Microsoft. I'm a Surface GBB here to help Ryan introduce Hub2S to you.
And GBB, Lynn's title, is probably the coolest title in the world. If you're not familiar with it, it means Global Black Belt. It means that Lynn really knows her stuff. We're excited to have her here with us today.
Thanks, Ryan.
Well, so Hub2S is a unique experience. Microsoft just recently launched this product. It is an online collaboration tool. It's a digital whiteboard. It's a Windows 10 PC that runs both first and third-party applications. It has wireless projection. It has all kinds of ability to unlock the power of teamwork in a mobile way. And so we're going to parse through that during the webinar. I thought we would start just by talking a little bit about this captivating hardware that's in front of us.
Awesome. Well, the first thing you notice when you first walk up to the device is the Pixel Sense display. It's a 3:2 aspect ratio, which gives you more real estate on the screen itself. We have a 15 millimeter bezel here that incorporates the Doppler proximity sensor built into the bezel, as well as some other things that I'll kind of cover off on here in a second that's built into the bezel. The screen itself is a anti-glare treatment. It's a 4K, better than 4K resolution. And then as far as what's built into the bezel, we have these front-firing mic arrays, or speakers here and here, and then also they're right here in the bezel. And what's really cool is that you can't see them. They're built in, so it makes it really a seamless experience here. The device is built for the next gen, all of the hardware to be able to turn this device. If you've seen previous sizzle videos about the Hub2X. And so with that kind of concept in mind, from the built-in bezel, front-firing speakers, they're here and here for in this orientation, and then when you turn it, there's actually another front-firing speaker here that helps for the audio. For picking up the in-room voice and being able to project it to far end, because this device is really designed to allow for bringing remote participants into meetings, and we'll talk more about that as well. But how we do that is there's a microphone array at the top, and then also whenever you do the turn for 2X, there's another microphone array here at this on the side whenever it is supported in that space. It comes with this camera built in, and what's really cool about the camera, because the device is designed to move around, and we'll show you that as well here in just a second, it is designed to kind of break away from the device, so that if you happen to bump it into a wall or something, it's not going to pull the camera completely off, and it won't hurt it or anything like that. You just pop it right back on and off you're going.
So when Microsoft designed the Surface Hub2S, they were really thinking about how do you unlock the power of a team in a meeting. And I think historically we've thought about meetings taking place just in a conference room, and they certainly do, and I know Surface Hub2S was designed for conference rooms, but the story is much bigger. This works not just in a conference room, it really can work anywhere. It's truly a mobile experience. Who could give us a little bit of how this device, how do you unlock this thing and take it with you on the go?
Awesome, yeah, so Microsoft partnered with Steelcase to design this great new cart that is on really large rolling wheels that makes it really easy to move around. And I'm gonna show it to you in motion using this video. Let me make it big. So you saw how easy it was for him to move the device into this new meeting space, and they basically turned this space into a meeting space, and now they're starting to collaborate on the device.
And this thing weighs about 60 pounds, right? So this is very different than historical technology that sat on a big bulky cart. Right? The other thing that's really noteworthy about it is just how up close and personal we can get. I'm not worried about tripping over something. It's not a safety hazard. This is not the way this technology has happened before. So that's great, but how do I unplug it and take it somewhere?
How do you unplug it and take it somewhere? Well, let me show you at the bottom. I don't know if you can see here, there is actually a little something that comes out. I'll toggle up on this web page and show you what that looks like. So we've partnered with APC to create a battery that you can install easily into the cart, and then there's if you see here, There are cable guides to help guide the cabling up into the device, and it gets powered from the compute module that is on the device at the back.
So I unplug, I'm Wi-Fi connected, and off I go.
And you never lose power to the device. You can even have your meeting going while you roll it to another space if you need to, and then continue on with that meeting.
So this really gives us an ability to stay in our flow and make any space a meeting space. And one of the things that is noteworthy as we think about this device, there's been a lot of interactive whiteboard technology in the past. I think many of us who've been around for a while have experienced failed projects, if we're going to be honest about it, where a expensive piece of hardware came in and it just didn't work. And most of the time it didn't work because they had to learn all kinds of new stuff. There was a new whiteboard application, there was maybe the engineers or some really technical people got it, right. But it was a somewhat limited audience. It didn't do everything that I do in my day. And so what's really impressing me about the Hub 2S is just the fact that this is a canvas into M365. There's nothing new to learn here. These are the same tools. It's Microsoft Teams and it's Microsoft Whiteboard, it's Office. It's applications and it's things I can bring in and wirelessly project, but it's no different than the tools that I'm using on my mobile device or I'm using at my desk with Microsoft.
That's true, Ryan. That's true. It comes preloaded with many of the Office apps that he mentions, and then there's the ability to add other line of business applications as needed. So it's a great tool to keep your end users in the flow so they don't have to think about how to use the technology while they're in a meeting. And speaking of meetings, we're going to take you to experience what meetings are going to look like on the Hub. With meetings, there's really 3 ways to start a meeting that I like to talk about. Not that I like to talk about it, there really is 3 ways to start. You can either calendar the device in a meeting by creating a meeting invite either in Teams and or Outlook using the Teams plugin. Invite the room, which the device would be associated with the room. Invite the people that you want to join the meeting, and then send the meeting off. And then that meeting invite would actually show up here at the top. The Hub is configured to auto accept that meeting. The other couple of ways to create a meeting is to create an ad hoc meeting, and you would use the call button, and we'll show you what that looks like. And the third way to bring the Hub into a meeting with other participants is to sign into the device here with your own account and bring in your own meetings and your own files, and you'll have access to it from this device using the regular Office apps that are already on it.
So let's say we are brainstorming in an open area. There's a Hub in the corner because this is a mobile device. We notice that it's not being used, and we want to bring Alex in for an impromptu meeting.
Let's do it.
Through the power of Teams, I can hit the call button. I'm gonna
It automatically launches into Whiteboard, by the way, whenever you go to do any kind of a Teams meeting on the device, because it assumes that you're going to want to collaborate, but it's not sharing anything yet. So
I'm going to send Teams over to the other side.
There you go.
But I have a dial pad. So this is a phone. So in any type of meeting, there's times that I might need to just call somebody on their cell phone. So I could dial a standard 10-digit number if I wanted to. Or in this instance, we're going to use the Meet Now functionality and find Alex in the directory. So I just type name, and I'm able to start an ad hoc meeting. I hit the start meeting button, a Teams meeting starts, Alex gets invited, we're able to start collaborating at a moment's notice.
Absolutely. And also, if you notice, whenever he touched anywhere to be able to type something, a keyboard pops up automatically. You can use an external keyboard with this device, but the keyboard is built in, so you can literally walk up to it and just start using it.
So we demonstrated the ad hoc or impromptu meeting experience. Let's talk a little bit about a scheduled meeting. So we all know that we go into Outlook and we invite our attendees, we invite the device, and we make it a Teams meeting, or we can do the same thing from within the Teams client. Let's talk about how that experience works and some of the capability inside a Teams meeting on a Hub 2S.
So the Hub 2S is integrated with M365, and it has the appropriate licensing and account to be able to participate in Exchange, and the calendared invite actually shows up on the device and allows you to join. So we did the Meet Now already, we did the dial pad, but right here is how you would just simply click to join the meeting. And once you, hello all, and once you join, You're able to see the far end participants here.
Yeah, if we wanted to see them full screen, we could do that, and we get we get them all in full motion HD 4K experience.
And this
Yep.
displays the last 4 active speakers in any meeting. So it can change out the video of the participants depending on who spoke last.
And so a whiteboard appears automatically, because the idea is in most meetings, we're going to want to capture some notes, and certainly with this device, we want to get up and get out of our chair and begin collaborating as a group. And so whiteboard opens automatically. And then what else? If we wanted to share, so they're on our Teams meeting, but if we wanted to show them either what's on our whiteboard or another application, how do we do that?
How do we do that? You use the tools within Teams. And it's the same tools within Teams that you have on your desktop. And so to share, you would hit the share icon. And then what you'll notice here is that on the screen, the yellow lines, the yellow bars at the top and bottom basically indicate that you're sharing content. And then at this point, the far end can actually see everything that we're doing. And if we were in a real meeting, we might want to continue to share some content, and we want to repopulate some of the information that we have maybe in the whiteboard. So we're going to pull up an existing whiteboard that we created.
Yeah, so I can pull up an existing whiteboard. We're going to spend some more time specifically on whiteboard in the future in a couple of minutes. But so whiteboard we could show if we wanted to open even an Office application. If I wanted to open something like Excel side by side, I can see, and again, the Surface Hub 2S runs Office applications. So this Excel is running, and it's actually pulling down from 365 documents that Megan, the user logged into this, has used in the past. It doesn't look like she has any recent, but otherwise her recent file list.
She must have been on vacation.
She must have. So, and again, you were able to see through this yellow line at the top and at the bottom. So I know at any point what the remote side is able to see. How else could we bring content? Very often we come into a meeting room and we want to share content. In the past, we had a HDMI cable, and those you had to find an adapter, and those things get frayed or broken.
It's true.
What's the best practice for this? This is a mobile device. We don't want a bunch of cables hanging out.
So the Surface Hub runs a version of Windows 10. It's called Windows 10 Teams, and as a result of supporting Windows 10 on the device, we also support Miracast. And so you simply can be able to share your content using Miracast. And so I'm going to step off screen here and do just that.
And while Lynn prepares, I just wanted to, this is a bit different. So I think we have all seen in our experience in meeting rooms, technology that allows us to share wirelessly. So I could wirelessly project my screen onto a display in the front of the room if I had bought some sort of a special HDMI box that attaches to it. There is a unique ability with Surface Hub for that to be bidirectional, right? This is not just projecting it to the screen, but we're actually writing back. So,
right, and you enable that simply by when you use the Connect app on your device, your Windows 10 device, and you enable the ability to ink back to the far end.
So we're doing that. We're actually controlling Lynn's device. This is her device. If I was to open PowerPoint and start inking into it, that's actually taking place on the actual file on your machine.
Why do we do that? Here's a PowerPoint I've already got opened up on my device. We can go ahead and open that up. And here.
Great. So if I was to draw on this device and these annotations, what I'm doing, pick a better color. If I was, all of this is taking place actually on the device itself, writing back to the file.
And because it's set to autosave, it's actually auto-saving the annotations as well back to your OneDrive. So everything that we do in the meeting, we don't have to remember to save it off or take a picture or anything like that. It's automatically doing that as part of the M365 experience.
Something that's consistent across this whole experience is the idea of being able to clip stuff, right? So this is, regardless of what I'm looking at, in any application that I'm running on Hub, in this case, the Connect application, we're looking at your desktop. If I wanted to pull this into one of our whiteboards, I can just snip this. And again, all of this is being seen by our remote participants. I can clip it.
A few whiteboards open, that was pretty cool.
It is, yes. So, all right. I can then decide that I want to clip a piece of this, and I can pull this right into our Office of the Future whiteboard that we're going to come back to and talk about a little bit more, because whiteboard is a huge piece of this experience. I'll make sure we do it justice.
Yeah, it really allows you to brainstorm and bring in different ideas, and the whiteboard is pretty powerful because it does integrate, again, with your OneDrive and saves off your information that you create in the whiteboard back into your OneDrive. Plus it gives you the ability to just really brainstorm around what you need to.
And because this is
accomplish.
Teams, certainly any of our remote participants could be contributing content to this. So we have Teams where we share wirelessly. We have the Miracast ability to be able to bring any content in. And so this could even be an application that, there's things that are running on your device, on your Surface, that are not running on the Hub. The Hub runs its own applications, but you might have some old legacy application that we're trying to get rid of and we want to have a meeting to talk about it. You can bring that up through your device. We could snip a piece of it. We could talk about how we're going to kind of make a more modern approach to something like that.
That's true, and I actually don't have one of those line of business applications loaded on my device, but what he's talking about is so you have some X32 type of apps that are really legacy apps in your environment, but you need to be able to communicate and collaborate with those, and the way to do that is to pull them up on your device and bring it up on the Surface Hub.
So since this is Teams, and I know you mentioned that the toolbar that we're seeing is the same toolbar that you see in Teams in general. I use Teams on my mobile device, and I use Teams on my shirt, and I use Teams at my desk. And so these are the same tools. There's really nothing to learn. And we're going to talk about just this constantly through this webinar, is the fact that these are my tools. This is Office, this is Teams, this is Whiteboard, all things that are part of our daily world. And when we deploy technology like this, all things that allow our users to just jump in and start collaborating without having to learn something new.
It's really designed, everything about the Surface Hub is real, and M365 in general is really designed to help your end users stay in their flow as they're having meetings. It's really great. So far we've talked about a calendared meeting, and we've also talked about an ad hoc meeting, and I promised that we would talk about the ability to walk up and log in and bring your own meetings and files to the Surface Hub. So we're going to talk about how that happens. First, I'm going to just hang up from this call.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
Thank you so much. Cheers. I'm going to hang up, and now we've left that call. And what I'm also going to do, typically at the end of a meeting, what you would do is click end session. And so we'll click end session to get it to the idle screen format, and then we'll show you how to log on to the device using multi-factor authentication for security reasons, and bring in your meetings and files and join a meeting.
Great. So we wanted to show the walk-up experience with the Hub. It would be slightly different because we're standing in front of it, so it's turned on. But otherwise, it would normally be off. It's got these proximity sensors. We walk up, and then it should be in a state like this. And we talked about scheduled meeting. There's a scheduled meeting here. And if I was here to join Megan's meeting, I just hit the join button, and I'm in the meeting. We talked about this concept of an ad hoc or impromptu call, or just want to use this thing as a phone. I could hit the call button. The whiteboard button, we don't have to have a scheduled or any type of meeting. We could just use a whiteboard like we would in any type of meeting environment. Or we could just start sharing content using this Connect application. Don't even have to touch the device to do that, right? I can bring a device sitting here. I could be sitting down with my Surface and just hit the Connect experience and Miracast wirelessly, bidirectionally to this device. So that's all there, but there's this elevated experience that you alluded to, where you could sign into the device, you can bring the power of 365, your documents and your meetings, in a scenario where I didn't schedule it. I might have a meeting that I want to join, and I want to use this device, but I didn't think to invite the device to it.
Yep, and so we want to go ahead and join from my calendar. And so what I'm going to do is click on the sign in here, and I'm going to go ahead, since I've already, this is in my environment and I've used this device before, I'm going to go ahead and pick my name, which I'm playing like I'm Megan today, and hit continue. And at this point, it's actually prompting me for a password. This wouldn't normally happen if your environment allowed for you to register your phone with the
Authenticator app.
With the Authenticator app to be able to log in with your phone. But because my phone is actually already registered to the Microsoft environment, I can't be registered to this tenant as well. So we're going to go ahead and type in the password for Megan. And I'm going to use the keyboard here instead of this one so that it would be private so that the people in the room wouldn't be able to see my password.
So while Lynn is typing in the password, I just wanted to talk and make sure that it's clear that the standard experience is using my phone. So when I walk up to join Surface Hub meetings in this office, I walk up, I just select Ryan, my phone authenticator app pops up. It shows me a couple of digits that are on the display. I type and match those digits. That's the first authentication. And then I use my thumbprint and I automatically log in. I don't have to use the keyboard at all.
True. And so now, because we do have MFA enabled on the tenant, and I logged in using my password, it actually sent a notification to my phone, to my Microsoft Authenticator app, to log in, to finish the login. And all I'm going to do is hit approve, and it should let me in. And then at this point, it's going out to the cloud and pulling my information, Megan's information, onto the device. What's really cool about this authentication method, I used my phone that registered to Microsoft.com to be able to register to a demo tenant. But if you can imagine, if I were coming into Unified Communications to have a meeting with Ryan and his team, and I had content in my world, but I needed to bring it up on the screen.
One more time.
Last. Approve.
There we go.
Sweet.
So this is actually pulling down your actual meetings and your actual files, right? So again, we can see here what the device was. Megan had a meeting where she had actually invited the device, but now we have your meeting, my meetings, and my files. So this is a whole bunch of meetings that weren't necessarily on this device because it wasn't invited, but they are on your calendar.
True.
Right?
This is my meeting with Lydia for later today.
And your recent files.
And then we have our existing meeting that I set up for our event today. And then here's all of the existing files that I've been able to leverage. And I could actually pull up one of these existing files and it'll go out to my OneDrive. It'll automatically launch the application on the device itself, which is one of the Office apps on the device, and this is PowerPoint. It's going to pull down that file. It's kind of a big file, so it's going to take a little bit. So here's my PowerPoint. What else can we do?
Yeah, so since this is single sign-on, right, Megan is able to, in this case, pull up OneDrive files, so we can come into OneDrive and see all of our files. We could also bring up the whiteboard we were working on. That was in a whole nother meeting at a whole nother time. That could have been in a whole nother city. So we can bring up the whiteboard and go find the whiteboard that we were working on earlier.
Oh, look, it's already populated.
It's already here. And
Sweet.
We're going to spend more time with whiteboard. We're actually going to talk about our office of the future. I know, Megan, you're going to be moving into a new office, and we've spent some time kind of thinking about how we're going to equip that office, what type of areas and spaces we're going to have. We've done some work, and we're going to bring you guys into this whiteboard journey with us and show some of the power of whiteboard on Hub2S. So Microsoft Whiteboard, and again, we talked about this recurring theme that you don't have to learn new tools to use the Hub2S. Microsoft Whiteboard is a tool that we're using at our desk. I use it on a mobile device. There's a browser client. It's built into Teams meetings. Even when I'm at my desk, I can use it on my Surface device, and it is baked into the Hub2S experience. But I don't know that everybody understands some of the real goodness in AI that is built into this whiteboard. So yeah, we started here with a new whiteboard. What are some of the capabilities inside whiteboard?
Some of the really cool capabilities that I like are the fact that you could change the background, because the white background for my eyes are a little bit harsh for me, so I can change it to a softer color that's a little bit easier on my eyes. Do you like purple, or you want a different color?
Purple's great.
Purple's great, awesome. So there's some other tools along the bottom here. You can change the color of the ink. It comes up as a default with a black, and you can also change the pen, the size of the ink whenever you draw. And so when you start to draw, you just literally say, just like this. And notice how responsive the ink is here. I meant to say hello world here, but I screwed up. So notice how responsive it is. You can really see the ink is right beside the pen. It's pretty.
Yeah, I've noticed ink just feels like it flows out of the pen. It feels very, very natural. It's not
a way better way to say it than I was going to say.
So we have a ruler, right? So tell us, so with a ruler, if I want to draw some straight lines, if I want to make sure that we're doing a 44-degree angle.
Perfect 44-degree angle with, let's try to get it, drag it to 0. So that would be your 44-degree angle there.
So yeah, so we have cool tools like ruler. We talked about this idea that we can just clip stuff, right? So if we wanted to bring up, if we had another application, like I wanted to bring up, let's say it was even something from Excel that we wanted to pull in, any application. Earlier we were looking at your desktop device through the Connect application and bringing stuff in, but we could pull this, make a list off and
we only want this part right here to be clipped into our whiteboard. We have the option of doing clip all, but I'm going to do just that part, and so automatically it pops it into our whiteboard. But Ryan is skipping over some of the really cool stuff, right? So we're going to leave that little picture there and finish off on the really cool stuff and then move back to some other really cool stuff.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of really cool stuff with the whiteboard. I don't know if you noticed whenever I was drawing my O's here in my hello, it automatically changed the shape. Well, the way that's doing that is because we have ink to shape enabled on this device. It comes disabled by default and you just come in here and turn it on. We also have ink to table turned on as well, and then this object snapping tool as well. So ink to shape, how does that work? You kind of already saw it, but I'm going to go ahead and draw a triangle here, which is not the best, and you notice that it goes right into making a triangle, and then I'll make a little circle off in the side there. Make me a little smiley face. So you see, that's pretty cool. It helps just clean up your drawing as you create as you collaborate on the whiteboard.
So we know we have different colors and we have different thicknesses, and what is this lasso?
This lasso. So let's show what that would look like. So we changed our color. I'm going to try to write. Pardon my handwriting here. It's kind of a little bit messy, but I'm going to say, "Hello world." There we go. All right, so and what we're doing here is to show you how you can beautify the writing here and make it a lot more legible than using my writing. And you mentioned the lasso. There's a lasso here that I could use to lasso this word, but there's also a button on the pen that I can use to activate the lasso from the pen without having to change. And so all I'm gonna do is circle my words here and use right now we're calling it the magic wand because it actually does some really magic stuff with AI. I don't know if Microsoft is going to come up with a different word for it, but that's what I call it because it has some sparkles at the end. And so you click the magic wand and it will turn our word into a better legible couple of words.
Speaking of AI and that magic function, there is something really cool that we still have some traditional analog physical whiteboards in our environment. They're disappearing, but old habits don't necessarily die that fast. So
there's a lot of organizations that don't have one of these things. And so you're at a previous meeting, let's say, and you've created an actual drawing on the old-timey whiteboard, and you took a picture of it, uploaded it to your OneDrive.
I did that. So I'm going to go
find. Did you do that?
I did. I'm going to go into Image, or Megan actually did that, and inside OneDrive, we're going to see this whiteboard that was inside the Hub2S folder. Here is this analog whiteboard that was done in a prior meeting. So this is just a picture that was taken with a smartphone. We're going to pull this in. We're going to see that kind of magic wand functionality at work as well. So here is this whiteboard. You can kind of see even from the coloration of it that this was definitely
it's really literally just an image.
This is really just an image. We're going to use that same functionality to try to take what is an image and do something really special. I'm going to steal the sizzle here.
Voila.
So this is now this has gone from a static image to something that's actually editable. So if I wanted to then kind of add to this, I could then take it, pull it down. We could add some additional step here, fix my square along the way, but using the power of AI inside of Microsoft Whiteboard, just kind of imagine this concept of how far you can go. This is not just from a whiteboard. This could be an image that I found on Bing, was able to pull down a static image, make it into something editable that we can use.
We really can do that. Let's do that. You want to bring an image down on Bing?
Sure.
There's an image I like to use a lot. That it does have to be ink already. Oops, I hit the wrong spot. It's right here, a Bing image. I'm not going to sign into Bing, I'm just going to search. Well, hold on, I'm almost there. Just continue. All right, and what we can do is write heart diagram there. We're going to search for a heart diagram. I happen to know there's a really good ink drawing of a heart diagram out there.
Okay, so we're searching Bing for a heart diagram, and I think this is
It's this one. This one
great.
right here is pretty cool. So you just click on the image and then you hit the plus sign here, and it really literally just pulls it in. It's an image from Bing.
All right, let's make that a little bit bigger.
Let's move it up. Notice the infinite whiteboard that we have. We can just really continue on with our ideation. Same thing, image from Bing. We're going to hit our magic wand and turn this into ink. What's really cool is because it really is ink, you use the lasso, and just like Ryan demonstrated from the previous whiteboard that was created, so you could continue ideating on that. This is pretty cool because you can pull down previous drawings or things like that, and from an education perspective, you could start to talk about these capabilities within the heart, and then as you talk about them, drag them off, and then perhaps turn this into a whiteboard that you could send off to your students,
Right.
and have them finish it and put everything back, and then turn that whiteboard back into you. It's a really great educational tool as well.
Amazing. So this is amazing capabilities inside Whiteboard. We were working earlier, so maybe we can pull up another whiteboard that we had a session. Megan is moving into a new office, and so we're going to go back. And this, again, beauty of Whiteboard is this is not, this lives in the cloud. So we have a prior whiteboard, this new office planning, because Megan is moving into a new office. We sat down together a couple of times in some previous sessions and created this whiteboard. But since it's stored up in the cloud, we can bring it back and we can show some of the kind of technology that we and the capabilities of Whiteboard, what we can do and kind of use that in a real world scenario. So number one, there was a PowerPoint that you guys put together as well, that kind of envisioning your new office. So from that PowerPoint, it had some images of different spaces. And so brought some of those in using that same snipping tool and put them onto our whiteboard where we could see them all together in one place. We also, here's an example. So I know that you guys are going to have multiple floors, and it's going to be helpful for us as we go through this planning to really have a sense of how many people are going to sit on each floor. So using the power, using that ink to shape and ink to
Well,
ink
actually,
to table.
it's the table.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to create a table.
So using the ink to table functionality that you showed me, I could do something like, create a table specifically showing the number of employees that we're going to have on each floor. So we have floor. My ink could use some beautification.
Right.
And then users. And notice how it's just automatically extending based on, I don't have to manually size this. It knows how to auto size itself. So, and we've got more than one floor, so we're going to build out our table a little bit. So we have 4 floors. And I know there's 20 users on the first floor, there's 35 on the second floor, there is 28 on the third floor, and we have 42 on the fourth floor. So this is using some of that same capability, in the real world. I also know that we identified a whole bunch of space types within our new office. There's going to be areas that you can focus and get work done. There's going to be areas that could collaborate and brainstorm. There's going to be areas to relax and recharge, but there could be some other areas.
I like a cafe. How about that?
For sure.
Everybody needs to eat.
So yeah, we could add an additional note, and let's bring up kind of our cafe. So I'm going to, I could write this, I'm just going to type it. So we have a cafe, and so we can now bring that over. And we have these sticky notes, which are super helpful. We may need more of them. It'd be kind of fun if we could maybe stack them up versus having to spread them out all over the board.
Right, it's pretty, so we want to kind of, let's say you want to move this type of information out of your way, you can totally stack up either images and or these little sticky notes that we've created. It's simply by long pressing the sticky note and dragging it over till you see the stack icon and then dropping it. And then if you ever need to go back to this stack, all you do is just double click the stack. It automatically expands the stack, And then if you wanted to bring something out of the stack, you can just simply pull it out like that, double click the stack and put it away, and continue to collaborate on the piece that you pulled out.
Yeah, and we could do really fun stuff. I mean, we could then go take these and take our sticky notes. We could go throw them up on our, so this was our actual.
Let's put it here.
Yeah.
Let's have the cafe there.
So this was our actual
we
floor
have
plan that we
windows
brought in. This was also a OneDrive image. Just a lot of power to do this just fluidly. What we showed where we brought in that picture of that analog whiteboard, that's actually a whiteboard that we were working on specifically thinking about how do we get the message out around this new office. So same type of thing. We can go in here and bring in an image from OneDrive and pull that picture, again taken from a smartphone, from an analog whiteboard into our digital whiteboard. So let's give it some space. Let's blow this way up there, and let's talk about how we're gonna get the message out. And then let's convert this again into something that is editable.
And it is on the infinite whiteboard, and it's just ink, and so we can just continue to move up and while we continue to brainstorm. So what were we going to do here?
Well, I think that we were going to work on formatting. I think we're going to write a blog post. We're going to work on getting kind of text and content into our new website. Let's make sure that it's really clear that we need.
Collaboration session right here in the middle there for the formatting. So
we do.
Yeah. So what we'll do is take our existing whiteboard, pull it down, and pop in another decision frame, and make us a collaboration session, and then come back to here.
Very cool.
Very cool.
So we hope you've had an opportunity to see the power and the magic of the Surface Hub 2S, how this device allows you to collaborate instantly anywhere, to unlock the power of 365 applications like Teams and Whiteboard, to bring content.
To stay in your flow.
Stay in your flow, to bring content, the stuff you do every day in a very simple way, and to be able to unplug like you do a laptop and make teamwork happen just anywhere. So we're going to move into our Q&A section. Please hang out. Let us know. We're here to answer your questions. UnifiedCommunications.com. We'd love to help. If you want to demo this device, get your hands on it, reach out to us. We'll talk about how to make that happen. But yeah, we're going to move into Q&A right now.
Great. So our first question, how long is the battery life? And Lynn, I'll let you kind of chime in. I know that until it actually ships, the official battery, it's kind of estimates because the battery is not shipping yet, but should be shipping very, very soon. I think we're expecting it to ship in November. But I'll let you kind of chime in on what's expected.
Sure. We're working with APC to determine the battery life, but we expect it to be between 90 minutes to 120 minutes in length.
Right. We had another question on how long does it take the battery to recharge?
That I do not have specific information about. I do know that we will have more detail on that particular question whenever the device is shipping.
Right. We had a question on how many USB ports does the unit have, and are there additional USB ports that are available to use outside of things that are required for something like the camera?
Yeah. So on the Surface Hub 2S, as you look at the screen and then around the screen itself, there's on each side of the Surface Hub, there's a USB-C connection, and it's really one of the USB-C connections is where you see the camera plugged into it. That's specifically really for camera type connectivity. On the compute module that's on the bump of the device, there is a mini display port, a USB-A port, USB-C port, HDMI, and then Ethernet as well as the power, and then the trickle charge for the battery is on the compute module there itself as well. The USB-C connection can be used as a single cable for touchback or connection to a PC, and then it would allow for video, audio, as well as ink and touchback to your device, your external device that you would plug into it. The traditional way on the Hub V1 was to use an HDMI plus the USB-A connection, which is 2 cables. That still works on 2S, but you also have the option of using a single cable for that connectivity.
Wonderful. Some additional questions that have come in. What is the process of getting a demo? Yeah, I would say if you are interested in experiencing this device, please reach out to us and we will circle back with you post this event and look at ways to get you in front of it. And we've got a couple, just depending on kind of where you are and kind of level of interest. It is shipping, and we do have some ability potentially for demo. It is somewhat limited, so sometimes it may be easier to get you, to our facility or to a Microsoft facility. In other cases, we can get you in line for a demo in your office. So yeah, please reach out to us. Another question on if I order today, when does this? If I order today, when does it ship? This device is currently shipping, so we are able and fulfilling almost immediately orders for Hub 2S. So there was a pre-order process and a short amount that where people had ordered and the device had not shipped. At this point, it is shipping regularly, and we're able to fulfill almost immediately. Question: is there a way to connect an additional USB camera to the hub for video conferencing purposes? Want to take that, Lynn?
Sorry, I was answering a question.
Okay.
So what was the question again?
Yeah, no, and I'll answer. Is there a way to connect an additional USB camera to the hub for video conferencing purposes? Absolutely. So
Yeah.
if you wanted to have an additional camera or replace the camera that comes with the Hub 2S, you absolutely can.
So we have another question. Does it have a dual monitor feature? Yes, we can. Today we support mirroring what's on the screen via an HDMI connection out, so it'll do a video out to another screen. But we are looking into additional use cases on the Hub 2S. But know that Hub 2X, we definitely will be supporting additional monitors. If you've looked at the sizzle video, you've seen the tiling that shows that we can have up to 4 Surface Hubs tiled together. That's definitely going to be supported in the 2X timeframe. And again, with 2S, we're looking at other options besides mirroring out what's currently displayed on the screen.
And I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that purchasing Hub 2S now has you completely ready for 2X. So some of the things that Lynn mentioned, and if you've seen the sizzle videos around rotation and tiling, and some additional really exciting functionality that's coming next year, you can collaborate this year with Hub 2S, and as soon as that functionality is out, just through that compute cartridge upgrade, you're very simply able to kind of unlock that future capability. So yeah, exciting. For larger rooms, can additional speakers be used? You can attach, an additional USB audio device if you didn't want to use the built-in audio to this. And there are a whole bunch of devices that we could talk to you about if you were looking to use this, let's say in an environment where either the speakers or microphones that are built into the device, which are really optimized for a up close and personal experience. They definitely work in a small meeting room as well. But if you wanted to make this a part of a large meeting room, there's ways to do that, and we could kind of dive deeper with you post event. And I think with that we might have time for one more question. Or actually, I think we're running right out of time. We'll try to reply to any questions that we didn't get answered post-event, and we really appreciate everyone attending today. Hopefully it was certainly exciting for us to put on, and hopefully it was meaningful for you all who attended. And Lynn, I just want to thank you again for joining me. It was a ton of fun. And yeah, with that,
Thank
we'll
you for letting me join you.
we'll call it a wrap. Thanks so much.
Cheers.